Alrighty. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Sunday night prep. I apologize, I was not here uh, this week. Last week because I had the COVID, because that's still going on. Let's see. Let me make sure everything's checking in. All right. Let's see. Looks like I got sound here, sound on the social media. I do believe. Yeah, we're looking good there. So, all right. As always, if you have any ticker requests, feel free to shout them out, and we'll always, of course, take a look at them. Let me bring up some of my notes here. Let me just make sure. All right, but yeah, we got Powell out of the way, thankfully. That is the last one for the year. We don't have him again until February, which will be the next rate decision. So yeah, thank God that's out of the way. But we haven't had any kind of pivot talk like the market is really kind of hoping for. Just to kind of go over some few notes here, he said that our focus is not on short-term moves, but on persistent moves. The past 2 months downtrend in inflation is promising, but it will take a substantially more evidence to boost the confidence in the downtrend sustainability. The labor market remains tight. Reducing inflation is likely to require a sustained period of below trend growth and some softening of labor market conditions, which pretty much means that more people need to lose their jobs. So there's that. So Powell continues to signal a pretty hawkish tone, more so than what the markets really want. But if we take things into perspective, the market has really yet to grasp how difficult it is to take down inflation at 7% with a federal funds rate that is below the inflation rate. I mean, it's just mathematically speaking, just kind of difficult. It's also really hard to take down inflation when you have a strong labor market, and Powell definitely noted on that. And they also noted that they will continue to stay the course until the job is done. So any kind of pivot talk that you hear from other sources is just nothing but in terms of the Amber Heard and Johnny Depp trial, hearsay. And you don't need to just avoid all that nonsense altogether. Any kind of pivot talk needs to come directly from straight from Powell's mouth. So until that is done, there is no pivot. There will be a pivot, but the pivot is going to come from much lower prices. So that's pretty much where things stand, especially for me. Uh, yeah, they're not going to consider any rate cuts until the Fed is confident that inflation is coming down towards their 2% goal in a sustained way. So if that isn't hawkish enough for you, then I don't know what else to or how else to slap you in the forehead with it, because the Fed is pretty hawkish, and there's no change in that whatsoever until the market is dealing with that. The labor market is changing. So yeah, the pivot's going to come just from lower prices. So let's get into a few things here. Of course, we always want to start from the top, work our way down to the bottom. If any questions you may have, feel free to ask them, and we will definitely take a look at any ticker requests that you may have, of course. But for the most part, my thing is that we are heading in towards a lower move here. And if you asked me a few weeks ago, if we were going to have a end of year rally, Santa Claus rally, whatever, yeah, if you would have asked me like around here, yeah, I would have said yes. I have no idea why that arrow is so godly huge there. I apologize. Let me lower that. Good lord. Uh, if you had asked me around these levels a few weeks ago, sure, yeah, I would have been all for it. But now things have definitely changed. The SPY has had a pretty decent rejection. We haven't been able to stay above the daily 200. If you put a year-to-date volume weighted average price, you'll see that we did get a rejection of that as well. So the SPY continues to really be a struggle here. And one of the major key points that we've kind of taken notice of, and you're going to see me do this real quick. I'm going to add study here. Let's see. I think it's on my other chart though. Let me bring that up. Let's see. I think it's you. Yeah. Let's see. Let's add a comparison real quick. And this is the Dow comparing the transports. Transports is very big component of the Dow, and you'll see this white line populate here. You can see that the diamonds has made a tremendous move higher, but the transports, this white line, never did confirm the move higher here. Let me scroll up here. You can kind of see that. So yeah, the Dow, yeah, that's made a really good move higher, but the transports never really followed along with it, and that's definitely a problem case and a case study in itself to kind of take a look at. So yeah, it's pretty nasty out there. Let me make sure that was the IYT there, just to confirm it. There we go. So yeah, there's your bullish move here on the Dow. The Dow was making higher highs. The IYT just not able to carry itself with it, and we're actually making lows here on the transports, and that's a problem among anything, if anything at least. So let's see. Let's keep that in mind there as we kind of take a look at things. If we take a look at China, the FXI, this is the large cap uh, China names here. We do have and a an initial rejection of the daily 200, as you can see there on that red line. We have that initial rejection. Now, this is pretty understandable. It is expected when we have these pretty aggressive moves to the upside and we bonk our head on the daily 200. This is nothing out of the ordinary, but just something to take note of. Large cap China names, they're still pretty much intact for the most part. We don't see that major breakdown that we've seen in other names, at least, but it is definitely something to keep note of. And let's see if we move on to Japan, not Japan, but the FTSE. There you go. Let that load up real quick. Japan is pretty much in this, pretty interesting neutral zone here for the most part. It's just kind of wacky. Let's see. Let me fix this chart here. I don't think that's right here. Go back a little bit. Japan, I apologize. Let's go. Okay. Let's see. Let's zoom out to here. This is the chart I wanted to show you. So here you go, Japan. Pretty much neutral. You're pretty much sideways for the most part. It's not great. It's not bad either. It's just one of those things to kind of take note of. Japan's not really doing anything at all. We definitely want to pay attention to what our other guys are doing. If we take a look at the German DAX, Germany, we noticed in the past, over the past few notes or whatever, that Germany has been on this absolutely rip roaring tear. Almost 8 weeks in a row without having a pullback, and we're finally seeing that pullback here on our weekly chart. And this, not saying that it's the end of the world. Structurally speaking, we still have the stacked DMAs. We got decent momentum still. It is kind of cooling off. We are in overbought condition, so we could very well see a decent little pullback here within the German DAX, maybe to 25. I would like to see that 24.75, that daily 200 hold its levels. Yeah, we'll talk about Tesla. Let's see. But every single thing out there pretty much has a sell signal from the SPY to the Qs to the IWM. You're talking about your daily time frames. You're talking about your weekly time frames. Yeah, there's just nothing good going on in favor of the market bulls. So with that in mind, let's take a dive on in, and then we'll touch base on like our final notes there. But looking here on the SPY, you can see this is the daily chart. We did fail at the year-to-date volume weighted average price and pushed well below our levels. We did have a tight zone between like 390 and 410. We couldn't crack 410. We bonked our heads up there and just aggressively just selling off. We gave back the entire Powell move right in here. If it'll let me draw. Yeah, there you go. There's your Powell move from from 2 Wednesdays ago. We faded that. We popped back off on CPI data and just kind of just gave it all back and plus some. So losing the daily 50 as well. And nothing's just sticking. We even broke. We got a little bit of a gap fill here to about 380. 380 is also a big long-term Fibonacci level that we're kind of paying attention to. If we kind of zoom out here on the weekly chart, you can take the COVID low here at 218, draw your fib all the way up to the all-time high. You get this level here at about 348, and that's pretty much where we are. You can see that this weekly move here that we've had uh, a few rallies here in between, and we just keep failing. And that's just a recipe for extra disaster that all of our rallies are coming up short, and we just move on lower. Even this past week's candle is incredibly ugly, if you ask me. So, where are we looking at for the downside here on the SPY? 380. Below that, we are pretty much going to possibly revisit. Let's see, 372 ish. That's going to be the 618 retracement of the prior low here. And, there is the argument that we could very well come all the way down to to really about 318. I mean, that's a long ways down, but I mean, we got room to go uh, to the downside. If I pulled that back up, that is the 618 retracement of the COVID move here. And yeah, it's looking more and more likely. I'm not going to say that's going to happen like this week. If we end up 318, this week, something's definitely gonna arrive. But you can see the levels a little bit better here on the weekly chart. 380 to hold. You lose 380. No doubt in my mind that we'll test 372, and then the weekly 200 down at 365. You lose 365, you got 348. No doubt about that. And then, of course, the extremely crazy down move to that is 318. But we'll take that. When that day comes. You also have your pre-COVID high at about 340 as well. So the pressure is definitely on. Momentum's just kind of gone away for the Bulls. The only thing that the Bulls can really do to try to fix things and try to hold their ground and push things back above the 400 level and maybe even 410 is if we do get some sort of short squeeze rally and we trap some shorts along the way. The only problem is what's the catalyst? We don't have a catalyst. We got GDP numbers on Thursday, and that's about it. And even that, I don't think that's going to be enough to really move the market in a way to spook a lot of bears. So the path of least resistance continues to be much lower. All right, so that's for the spies. Those are my levels to the downside. 380, you lose 380, you're going down to 371. Then to about 348 to retest those lows there. And then 318 is the extreme low, but I'm not saying that we test that this week by any means. That's probably something that we might have to consider back in, when we hit 2023 sometimes and we get into more of the quantitative uh, easing, tightening, whatever you call it. But all right, let's take a look at the Qs. Yeah, I got some ticker requests coming in. We'll take those here since that does kind of involve the Qs there. So the Qs, yeah, we lost 278. That's a big no. We even have these daily multi-day squeezes. We've lost our EMA structure, not just the daily, but also on the weekly. We failed to get a good positive stack on the weekly structure, and now we're just kind of collapsing on down. And you could argue, sure, this is a pretty interesting spot. If they want to hold this, they can. If they don't, then we definitely go lower, at least to 258, maybe even further. But you're in this interesting little zone, maybe at the bottom edge of this zone. So if the Bulls want to try to bounce it and get a dead cat bounce, sure, why not? But it's definitely hard. There's a lot of the mega cap tech names out there, the big boys. They're not. They're not looking too good. We'll jump into that. So yeah, the Qs, they're below all the main levels, especially below 278. This was on our radar last week. If we lost 278, that's bad news altogether. So this chart right here is dangerous, and it's even more dangerous because all of your mega cap names have plenty of room to fall still, especially Apple. Bulls can try to hold the lows here and get it back to the daily 200, back at that 302 mark. But Another fail here with the daily squeeze, multi-day squeeze, firing short. We have a sell signal on the high low. Momentum MACD's looking pretty rough as well. It's hard to see. It's hard to see. And, yeah, we'll take a look here at Meta. Meta communication sector, we're just kind of sideways for the most part. You can kind of see that here as well. You got to break this level here at about 124. Your lower end range is down here at about 115. Sure, if you can crack this, I mean, maybe we can get a nice little move higher to, possibly the weekly 21 at 135, but it's just hard to see at this point if everything is going to be moving lower. Sure, you can have some relative strength among everything, but as far as meta goes, I would play the break of this 124 zone to the upside. But if you lose these lows here at about 113, I'd send it right back down to about 108. Of course, if you lose 108, it gets a little bit nasty there on a meta. Tesla, yeah, of course, the big news here is Musk has. I don't know if y'all have gone on Twitter, but Musk has this survey going on Twitter right now, asking if he will respect the answers, and it's a yes or no poll. And if enough people say that he should step down as the CEO of Twitter, then he'll respect that decision. If not, he'll remain. Now, I think if he's asking that question, he probably has someone in mind to take over, and B, he's already been questioning if that he should step down. So if that is the case, then sure, Tesla can have a pretty good bounce, a nice little rally, and as far as I'm concerned, that's all it's going to be. It's going to be a dead cat bounce. This is still a series of higher lows, lower lows, and or lower highs, excuse me, lower highs and lower lows, and we're just kind of moving down. You can see that clear as day in the weekly chart as well. I mean, this chart is absolutely busted. You got this nice little wedge breakdown here. Let's see here. You're breaking support. You're losing the weekly 200. I mean, what is there to like in this chart? I mean, there's literally not much. I mean, you lost support at 180. Next support is probably around that 127, 125 mark. That's the best I can see. So it does make sense that we do possibly revisit those levels. As far as Tesla goes, sure, we could very well get a bounce. We could very well get a nice bounce. And even so, till we hit 175, sure, why not? That is the daily 21, but you can see here all these red lights here. We can see that we got negative stack DMAs, we got negative momentum. Even the histogram here on the squeeze is negative. Where's your there's no signals here on the MACD. Momentum is minus 44, for goodness sake. Your hourly structure is just garbage. If anything, day trade it. I wouldn't say swing it for the fences. If you do swing, I wouldn't swing it longer than a day or two. Because any kind of pop that gets hit, they're going to try to short it all the way back down, and that'll be the end of that party. So as far as everything goes, yeah, it's hard. I know there's a lot of Tesla fanboys out there that are, disappointed with, his attention being mainly on Twitter. But what's gonna any signals that you have, what is there? Is all to the downside. Everything is negative on this chart. So if you were going to day trade it long all day, day trade it short all day. But I can't recommend swinging it by any means. I mean, heck, swinging anything right now should be a swing. Should really be a swing to the downside. If anything, that's definitely the safest bet. Probably the higher probability bet to be successful is to swing positions short, whether you're selling short or if you're buying puts. Yeah, G Unit, tired of scalps. Let's find some swings. Yeah, definitely. You're suggesting Sox L. Sure, why not? This is the 3x ETF, or for the semiconductors. Semiconductors, yeah, you can kind of see this pattern here as well. Let me turn that off and put this on. You can kind of see you're right here at support here. Down at the 11 mark, 13's your high end. If this does want to bounce, sure, I would target the 13 area and see what happens. You're going to kind of see this pattern throughout where things are teetering right on support, or they've either lost support and down we go. And then you can play that bounce to the upside. One name that does come into mind for me is UNP, United Union Pacific. Sorry, not UPS. I was thinking about UPS there. But if you kind of look here, here's your upper end at about 220. Here's your lower end down here at about 207 ish, give or take. And yeah, you can play this bottom here and try to send it back up to 220. I mean, you're going to see a lot of things out there that look like this, where you have this nice little Darvis box. You're possibly at the lower end. Some look better than others, especially if they're holding the daily 50, but they're still under the daily 200. Things are kind of teetering here. You do have a nice little squeeze here on the daily here. Uh, you're kind of holding up here on UNP. This is probably one of the better looking positions that I've seen. I know there's still a lot out there that looks pretty decent, but a lot of stuff looks like crap. And if the ocean of the motion's to the downside, I'd rather put my bet to the downside. So that's kind of what I'm feeling. Yeah, if you're looking for swings, I'd swing short. Find something short that you can swing and grab some puts, do some put debit spreads or some call credit spreads, whatever you want to do as far as the options chain goes, and do it that way. Sell some premium if you can. Yeah, it's tough out there, especially if you are a swing trader. It's not your friend, especially if you're trying to swing long. If you're swinging short, sure, you're doing pretty fine, but day trading and swinging short is definitely the way to go. Find something that you can grab some puts, grab some call debit spreads, or excuse me, some put debit spreads, sell some premium, however you want to do it. If we take a look at, I know we talked about the diamonds just briefly here. Technically speaking, sure, it's the best sector, the best indice out there compared to the SPY, the Qs, the IWM. But it needs to hold. It needs to hold this 324 level. That is the weekly 21. It's also this 382 retracement from the lows here at 286. We talked about the transports, not really confirming the move on the diamonds. Yeah, you do have to. You're very right. You have to watch those bear rallies when swinging short. No doubt about that. I mean, we all know we've seen it. These rallies here. If you go back to the SPY, these rallies can be quick. They can be aggressive, and you do have to be on your guard. No doubt about that. They come swift and they come bouncing. But I mean, this was a nice little move here from 348 all the way up to 410. I mean, that's impressive. That's a 50, 60 point move there on the SPY, and it took some time, but we got there. But nonetheless, I think we're headed back down. You just have your stops in place. I mean, if you have your plan in place where you have your targets and your stops, you should have no problem in navigating the waters. Maybe grab time, do a debit spread. That limits your risk as well. Let's see, especially to the short side. If you are concerned, watch those put to call ratios. If you get above a put to call ratio above one, you know that everybody and their mother is short at the moment. Let me see, where did we close on the put to call ratio over the weekend? Yeah, we closed at 1.15. So there's a lot of puts out there. There's a lot of bears that stayed open going into the weekend. So we'll see if that translates into some kind of short squeeze rally. I mean, that's really what the bulls have to look out for, or look forward to, is if they can get some kind of grip on the bears and squeeze this thing long and get some bears trapped. And that's the only thing going for them. I mean, really. Uh, Diamonds, yeah, like I said, 324. If you lose 324, you pretty much flush to about 310. 318 to hold first, and then 310 is what my downside target on that. The IWM, the small craps, it's below all my technical levels here. No real support. No real support. Probably yeah, what was this, about 168? Maybe even 163, our previous low here. That's where I'm going to call it. Let's see. Let's put that off. Yeah, you're pretty much looking right about here. 165, 163 to hold. on the IWM. And let's see here. Let's close that off. Let's see. Let's go to the dollar real quick. Now, we've all been kind of talking about this. Go to your monthly chart on the dollar. This is the DXY if you're on TOS. If it'll load. There it goes. All right, so the dollar here, 103.82. This was our prior breakout level. This is where we rejected way back in 2017. We finally got that pushed through and trended higher to about 114. Now we're just kind of retesting this breakout level, and so far we're kind of holding. So if it breaks down, that's great for market bulls. If it doesn't break down and we continue to hold strong, then that is obviously good for market bears. Let's go over to the weekly chart here. Let that load. Yeah, it's just one of those things. If the dollar bounces here, it bounces here. In the story, you can kind of see that it's a little bit under pressure here for futures. Futures are slightly up, so that's a good thing. I think we gapped up at about 2 points. RSX going to take off. Yeah, that's still suspended. They're not going to unsuspend RSX the until the whole Russia Ukraine situation resolves. But yeah, as you can see, the dollar it's just kind of stabilizing here. If the dollar stabilizes or rallies off this level, that's generally bearish for the markets. If it flushes, that's good for the markets. I mean that's black or white there, for the dollar, nothing too crazy to write home, nothing too special to write home about. We take a look at the junk bonds here, the HYG. I have an alert here at the 74 mark. If you lose the 74 mark down here at the daily 50, yeah, that's not good. That's the problem would be really pretty much a snowball effect here if the market lost 74. So I have an alert set up at 74 on the junk bonds to see if we crack down. If we take a look at the crude oil, we know that crude oil is kind of taking a little bit on the chin here. We did lose 75 for a moment there, and it almost got a little bit crazy. We did push down towards 73, but there's not really much support until you hit about 70. That's where I'm going to, kind of look forward to see if we get any push lower back down to 70. If we lose 70, then sure we lose, we go all the way down to about 65, 63, give or take. It's a little difficult to trade on crude oil. It's probably easier to short, but still difficult nonetheless. Let's take a look at natural gas here. That's always the next one. Natural gas. Yeah, this is sloppy. You can it's just sloppy. You can see the price action. We're not making any kind of progress. We're just kind of stuck sideways. Even the moving averages kind of confirm it. Histograms, just kind of all over the place. Momentum's just kind of flat. Yeah. Yeah, nothing. If you got any nat gas names, I'd probably just ignore them for the time being until we get some kind of clarity on the situation. Now we take a look at copper. We all know that copper looks great above 396 or that $4 mark. It's still intact, which is good for bulls, but we really need the copper bulls to it's kind of like storming a beach here on D-Day and just kind of rally the troops and up you go. Yeah, if we can get above that $4 mark, of course, that's a good thing for the market bulls. But if they break down, they break down and down we go. That's just another one of those situations that we got to be aware of. If copper is going to rally, that's great. If it's not going to rally, not so great. Let's see. Let's go over to Bitcoin. Bitcoin for me is dead. I'm not. I know we always bring it up week to week. So we we are always swinging Ligma, Ligma and Sigma. We're always swinging those. Uh, let's see, Bitcoin. Yes, this is just dead. Just wait for Bitcoin to blow up. Let Tether go away. I'm not touching Bitcoin. I don't recommend Bitcoin to anybody out there until the dust settles with the whole crypto shenanigans. 12K or lower. 12K, maybe 12K. Heck, I'd be happy at 6K. Could you imagine buying Bitcoin at 6K? Well, but yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking at. This is just trash. It's trash. It's let Tether blow up, let the whole crypto market get flushed out, let them come in with regulations and nail those guys for their crooked ways, and I wouldn't touch them. I'm not putting any money in any of those exchanges. You couldn't pay me to do it. If they approach me, I'd tell them off. So you won't see me endorsing any of those guys whatsoever until they pay the piper. VIX. Yeah, let's talk about the VIX. The VIX, this is a nice little falling wedge here. Yeah, I got aggressive there, didn't I? Let's see. Let's go to the VIX here. If my buttons will work here. Oh, it's because I was taking off my wrong button. There we go. So here's the VIX. You got a nice little falling wedge there. Let me clear that and totally blotch that out, didn't I? Let's go here. All right, so here's your falling wedge here on the VIX. Got this nice little breakout. Let's see, above 23, above 24 looks pretty good. To send it to about 27, maybe even 28. You can also confirm this with the SPY. The SPY has a rising wedge, the VIX has a falling wedge. They're inverse of each other. So now you got a breakout of the wedge on the VIX and you have a breakdown on the SPY wedge, and off we go on the races. Looking for higher move here to a VIX? Sure, why not? Above 23, the Bears can take control yet again, and I'm just giving a abundance of caution as far as the VIX goes. The yield curve, of course, still remains incredibly inverted. No good thing happens with an inverted yield curve. Let's see. As far as the scans go for this week, sure, I got some results as far as the bull scans, mainly with like Home Depot. Boeing actually looks pretty good for a decent try at a long here. You're riding the 8 DMA, you got the positive stack DMAs, you got pretty good momentum. Maybe you're a little bit overbought, and the histogram on the daily squeeze is kind of shifting a little bit, but for the most part, Boeing is intact. I'll give it that much. You also have Chewy. Chewy's pretty interesting. It's trying to hold together structure. You do have a daily squeeze shaping up. I'm not too much of a fan of some of these sell signals altogether. That's where it kind of gets a little tricky. As far as if we're going to try to play something long, we really need the market to confirm it. So if we're going long, then SPY, the Qs, everybody and every indice out there should be green. So like if the SPY is green, Qs need to be green, IWM probably needs to be green, and most of the sectors need to be green. I don't want to go long on something and the market's just kind of all over the place going sideways. Of course, you got in phase here, getting a deeper pullback than what I would like. If I was going to pick an energy guy, it'd probably be ZOM, even though it looks kind of nasty, especially if you do break this level here. What is that, about 102, 101.75, 102? We'll definitely have to pay attention to that area. Let's see here. KHC, Kraft Heinz. I know it's kind of a boring name, but hey, it looks good. You got the stacked DMAs, you got decent momentum. MACD's good. Yeah, why not? Kraft Heinz, long above 40. You got room to wiggle there on Kraft Heinz. I know Coke is probably a good one as well. We like playing our Coca-Cola. Let me get rid of that yellow line. It's kind of obnoxious. Let's see. FSLR. FCX is, of course, the copper name that I'm always watching. If copper does want to push, then yeah, I'm all eyes on FCX. US Steel X holding up pretty decently. That's another one to kind of keep your eye on. MRK. Not too shabby there. We can see that MRK is nice positive uptrend, new highs Stacked EMAs, we got the structure, we got decent momentum here. It is kind of fading a little bit on the histogram, so you got to watch out for that. Let's see. Monster, yep. MNST, that's on the long end, of course. Yeah, Monster, not too bad here at all. I like that one. Let's see if we can't get another push to the 105 mark. Now, like I said, things need to be pushing to the upside, and VIX needs to be moving lower. The dollar needs to be moving lower, and then we can get long. If not just day trade things. Let's see if we want to take a peek at some of these guys. Amazon looks rough. I'm waiting to see if this thing can retest the lows at 85. Big one on Apple. This one's a pretty juicy chart here. Yeah, you're right here on potential support. You can see it better. Let's go to the weekly chart because you can definitely see it a little bit better. Let that load up. Let's see. There you go. Dogs are going crazy. All right, here's your level of support there, right about 131, give or take. You lose that, I guarantee we come all the way down to. Well, I'm not going to say guarantee. That's how you get in trouble. The next target would be 113 down here on Apple. Yeah, this weekly chart looks pretty rough. You can see it. That weekly candle close from last week's just look ugly. Sure, you're testing these support levels at about 133. If you lose that, down you go. Let's see. Apple looks pretty good. We know Google looks pretty similar as well. Lose 90, you got a gap fill to about 87. Lose 87, you're coming right back down to 83. Let's see. Airbnb. This one looks pretty ugly as well. Lose 88. You might as well revisit the lows at about 86 and some change. I like that one. Let's see. Bank of America. Another one. Yeah. Don't say I retract my previous statement. I never said that. There is no guarantees. You plan for the upside, you plan for the downside, and maybe you plan for sideways. It's not a guarantee. Let's see. Bank of America. Oh yeah, that looks horrible. Go back to 29. TTD. Yeah. Trade desk. Yeah, I don't like this at all. 45. Go down to 43. Heck, maybe even retest these lows. Oxy is a fun one. Considering I said Zom looks pretty decent, Oxy looks kind of funny. Berkshire maybe feeling some short-term pain. Warren Buffett, maybe some room to retest those lows at 57 if we get some pain within the energy sector there. Let's see. Ford and GM, both of those are on my hit list to the short side. Look at this move on Friday on Ford. That's just atrocious. You lost support at 13, gap and crap. I mean, yikes. Maybe room to 11 here, 1170, followed by 11. That looks pretty ugly. General Motors. Yeah. There you go. Lose 35.89. Where are you going? This looks horrible. Yeah, if anything, look for decent shorts. Yeah, look at that. Look at this. Look, I've had these lines drawn on for a while. There's your mark at that 41.25. Here's your lower end of the range at about 30. Let's see. You had this. Let's see. Nice rejection. Let's short this thing. Jesus. Let's see. Pain for General Motors. All right. Let's see. Communication sector in general. This is a weekly chart. Still looks pretty rough. That's going to affect guys like Disney. Let's see. I'm curious to see what those Avatar numbers are going as far as. I haven't really looked at that to see how well Avatar's done this weekend. General Electric. Yeah, couldn't quite clear 88.50. Move that drawing real quick. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. Nice little breakdown here. Support, breakdown. Came back up to it, rejected. down you go. Let's see here. So what would we be looking at? Now you do have the good, decent momentum. You got a sell signal here. Let's see, we could very well draw not a fib extension. I want a fib retracement because I want to see where we are going to retrace to. That is way off. There you go. 72. Sure, that makes sense. Let's go to the daily. Yeah. You lost the weekly 21. You're trying to hold on to the daily 200. Histogram still selling, shifting short here. You're going from overbought, kind of coming in. You got your sell signal there on the MACD. Momentum's a little bit busted. Hourly chart looks a little rough. Now you could get a decent little bounce here, especially if you get this nice little oversold bounce, possibly intraday. That's probably oversold. Yeah, you're a little oversold on the hourly. Get a nice little bounce back up to about 81. Let's see, and then keep going short. Let's see. GE, what a strange, interesting company. They've been around forever. Let's see. IBM, usually one of those safe haven names. Ooh, Jesus. Look at this beautiful move to the upside. Now you're getting there's nowhere to hide. That's usually a bad sign. Nowhere to hide. Let's see. Let's go to the XLY. Yeah, this contains Amazon, Tesla. This sector looks horrifying. 133. I'm not trying to sound too doom and gloom. It's just, if like I said, if you had asked me a few weeks ago, and you can see it in the notes too, if I was talking about like some kind of year-end melt up, it even says in the notes that we're set up for a year-end melt up. Yeah, that was, good analysis here. Now we're here, and we got to change our way of thinking. So down we go. Sure, we can continue to go sideways. Corp says he wants to see SPY retest the 200 EMA and get rejected. Let's see. I don't have the 200 EMA on here for me. I'll have to put that on and see where that's at. Yeah, I'm thinking things come back further. There's nothing to really suggest that we have some kind of bounce. Let's see. Cuck. Carnival PLC. I feel like a cuck for looking up cuck. Feel dirty. Yeah, that looks like a good short, corpse. Lose 750. You do have earnings coming up December 21st. You have earnings on that. I think that's probably something to be mindful. Rite Aid. Man, I earned that one in a while. Yeah, nice downward pressure here. Nice sell signal on the MACD. Lose 415. Go back to the lows at 384. SE. Good old SE. Yeah, you've had a good little move here. I was looking for this move towards the daily 200 at 75, and he kind of got bonked on the head. Now large cap. Is SE part of China names? I'll have to double check on that. Maybe a little bit messy here. Let me remove some of these drawings. I don't know why I got so many here. Let's see. You can see where we played it before. Let's see. Sloppy at best. Kind of in this little box here on SE. What was that? About 65. You're at the lower end too. Yeah. 53.69. Now you could get a decent little bounce here. You can try to play that and play it back to the upside to about 65. You can try that. But if you lose this part here, yeah, I think you at least retest these lows here towards 40. I think that's going to be your next spot. Let's take a look at the weekly chart though, just to kind of check. Man, this was such a beautiful move. A lot of things out there look like that, especially names like SC and Roku, a bunch of names out there. Let's see. Let's fix this up real quick. Sometimes I hate TOS because you have to click buttons everywhere to move charts around. Yeah, lose 52. Yeah, I think you head back down to 42, 40, give or take. Yeah, kind of a tough spot. This daily candle, that is a weekly engulfing candle. They try to take it to the upside. They failed, so they slammed it on back down. That's a pretty bearish candle right there. I would imagine that they slam it further down. Let's see, but if not, I would play that break here. You zoom in, of course. Let's see. I probably wouldn't play the upside until we at least get back to 66, 63, 66 at most. Little tough spot. Also got a sell signal here. Oversold. Yeah, oversold on the hourly on SE. So yeah, that's my take on SE. If you lose, say about 52, I'd look for lower prices, 45. If you break above 64 and a half, 65, take it back to the upside. May need to be a little bit patient there. Let's take a look at Futu. Futu holding up, not too bad. Let's see. If anything, I like Futu. Futu, if you can hold this, you got the stack DMAs, you got somewhat decent momentum. It's a little bit overbought on the daily. We'd have to probably monitor this hourly chart here on the right hand side. This is your hourly chart. You might get a decent little revisit if it doesn't hold on the hourly 200. Speaking of that, let me go to the SPY here now that I'm thinking about it. Yeah, if we let me change this time frame here. Let's go 90 days on the SPY on the hourly just to kind of show it to you. Let that load up. All right, so here on the SPY, you can see that we held the 200 on the hourly, held the 200, held the 200, held the 200, held the 200. Now it crashed through. You see how sturdy this was for market bulls for quite some time, and we finally lost it. Yeah, it's not generally good. I mean, of course, it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. There's a lot of people that eye the 200 on whatever time frame. Yeah, this was a pretty big deal where the market bulls held the line, held the line, held the line, held the line, and then we just melted through it like butter. That's kind of why I always mention. That's why I always mention. Take a look at those big levels there, or those major moving averages. Kind of keep a close eye on them day in and day out. Let's see here. All right. Let's see. Yeah, I was looking at Futu. Futu, decent, especially if we can get a break above 67, maybe send it back up to 72. These are China names, so they can gap up. Baba had a nice little move to the daily 200. Now it's just kind of stalled out, understandably so. I would like to see this curl back to the upside. So yeah, as far as next week goes, it is the holidays. I do expect low volume. We do have GDP data on Thursday before the market opens. Let's see. We have Canadian CPI data on Wednesday. Friday, we also have core PCE. Next week, not much going on. And then, of course, the Monday after Christmas is a holiday. The market is closed Monday following Christmas. That is Christmas observed. So the market will be closed for that. We probably won't be doing a live. I'll get with DJ, see how he wants to do that. I don't plan on going live next weekend. And then, of course, we have New Year's. I probably won't be live then. So we might get a little bit of a lull here. We'll see what we can do there. Maybe I'll post some short videos here and there throughout the week, of course, to kind of keep everybody aware of what is kind of going on if things do progress in either direction. So we'll see if there's going to be any kind of Santa Claus rally. It's going to have to come with a short squeeze rally. And if we do get a short squeeze rally, like someone said on Facebook just a momentarily ago, watch out. Have your stops in place, of course, and just keep risk small. There's no sense in going heavy right now, especially big money. Big money is not in any shape or they're not in any hurry. They're not in any hurry at all to be buying up stuff right now. It's the end of the year. They're fixing up their books. They're doing window shopping, maybe. Um, Tax loss harvesting. They're not doing anything major right now. They're probably kicking back and doing whatever and let the market do whatever it wants to do. Um, yeah, unless we get some kind of crazy catalyst, which is hard to find at the time being. I don't see. I didn't check to see what if we have any Fed speakers this week. I'll double check that. But yeah, don't fight the Fed. We'll kind of keep things going. Day trades continue to be your friend. If you're swinging, swing short is my recommendation. Watch the big tech names: Apple, Tesla, Nvidia, Microsoft, all those guys. Any of the high beta tech names, watch those guys for any kind of further downside pressure. Let's see, watch the dollar. Maybe keep an eye on the bonds. You don't have to. You got me for that. Let's see. Other than that, keep it nice and tight this week. Don't be in any hurry whatsoever. There's no sense in trying to force things. But yeah, take it day in and day out. I'll be live tomorrow morning in the Discord. Any questions before we cut this off? I like to keep it under an hour. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. I appreciate every one of y'all for hanging out with me. If you're on social media, I appreciate it. We are live every day, pretty much in the Discord, navigating the waters and doing what we can do there. Uh, do. All right, I appreciate y'all. Congrats to any Argentinian fans for winning the World Cup there. Hooray, Messi. Let's see. All right, keep it up, guys. I'll be here in the morning. I got a few people typing, so I'll wait for that. Oh, you're welcome, Varys. Corpse, I appreciate you, man. Hope you have a good evening, and we'll hit it running tomorrow morning. And yeah, looking forward to this week. Watch your volumes, have your stops, have a plan in place, know your targets, know your stops, know your profits, et cetera, et cetera. Stick to your rules, stick to your guns. Don't be FOMOing. We'll keep it going. See you guys. Thanks, guys.